right, everyone, welcome to episode 55 of the Dunk Dynasty Podcast. Again, it's another conference review. Previous episode was the Western Conference. Today, it is the NBA Eastern Conference. Our preview predictions for what we think is going to happen in the East this year. Obviously, lots of movement has happened in the conference. Some teams have gotten better. Some players from the West have come over. But we'll give you guys our input and essentially give you an idea of what we think is going to happen. Myself, Panache and Yashanu, here with Eddie Mack, Ethan McDonald, and the Terminator, Jed Mitchell. Episode 55, guys. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Another day of breakdowns and previews.
Mate, just another day closer to watching some lovely NBA. Also, another day closer to going 1-6 in NFL fantasy as well. So, all in all, it's been a great week. Having so much fun, enjoying it all, and can't wait to whack this one out of the park.
We're under a week away to the NBA. How good! You've got to love it. Like, this is the best time of the year. Like, early season basketball. Like, if you're a true fan, the only people who actually enjoy that, you got to look forward to it.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, bro. It's Christmas and NBA season starting, bro. It's what a time to be alive. And if you're betting on NBA preseason, man, like a degenerate, like myself, that's what's up as well. That's where the real fans belong, bro.
Are you that desperate to bet on games already? You're betting on preseason?
Practicing. It's preseason for the players, just like it's preseason for the gamblers, bro. It's preseason for everyone. We all gotta test the waters a bit, see what the over-unders are like, the player props are like, just to see, get prepared. And Anthony Edwards, man, shout out, paying homage to LeBron James. How to go from 6 to 23 like LeBron, more like how to go 6 of 23 from the field like Anthony Edwards, So he's in mid-season form.
Proud.
That was nice from you. Yeah. Also, in-season tournament coming up. We're like a month away from that.
Oh, yo, shout out. I can't wait to see the court designs, man.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a huge fan of the in-season tournament. Not going to lie. That's like I love everything about it.
Oh, that was kidding.
Let me see Halliburton cook. I just can't wait for the narrative of Halliburton's career to be he's the in-season tournament GOAT and like a regular season winner.
Hey, but to be fair, first 2 months of the season, 3 months of the season, he might be, one of the best point guards of all time if we kept it to just that sample size. Beyond that, okay, maybe not. But we do like the Winter Soldier. That's his nickname from now on, the Winter Soldier. Everyone knows why. The Winter Soldier. Shout out. The best nickname in the NBA for sure. Because if it ain't snowing, Tyrese Halliburton is not going. That's the motto. The Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah, it's almost like he's the autumn soldier because it's like earlier than winter. Yeah. But hey, we can't get caught up on the details.
Yeah.
Well, apparently we can. Tell us more, Jed. We were interested in your seasonal view.
Yeah, well, maybe we could call him when it gets post autumn. He turns to that.
No. But he's awesome. Post autumn, he's awesome.
Anyway, for those who are listening in for the first time to the podcast, make sure you leave us a review wherever you're listening, whether it's Apple Music, Spotify. Make sure you leave us a review. Helps us grow as a podcast. The more we grow, the more content we produce for you. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and share the podcast everywhere as well. Same for you guys who are listening to it as an audio. Make sure you go to social media, follow us on TikTok, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe on YouTube as well to make sure you keep up to date with what the Dunk Dynasty Podcast is up to and when new episodes are dropping. But with that being said, let's get into things. We did it yesterday for the Western Conference. Today we do it for the East. How we believe the Eastern Conference is going to go. So we all submitted our lists, our rankings of how we think the Eastern Conference is going to shape out. And here we go. We've got it. So at 15, I think we're going to skim through some of these ones. We want to get to the fans, same as us. They want to get to the good teams. So let's start off with how we ranked it from 15
just a quick note there.
To first.
Surely we spend at least 15 minutes talking about the Wizards, regardless of where they fall.
Absolutely. I think with the players that they have, the light skin, the dynamic light skin duo, for sure. Oh, actually, they're probably the triplets now because they've got Brogdon too. And Sar Loki's is a light skin too. So that's, bro, could it be a four? Nah. I didn't say foursome, but fantastic four.
Oh, would you look at that? It's been 15 minutes. Okay.
So, in 15th place, we have got the Brooklyn Nets. Yeah, womp womp, unlucky. In 14th place, the Detroit Pistons. Womp womp. 13th, 15 minutes we just spent on them, the Washington Wizards. Yeah, the worst thing to come out of Washington this year, and Donald Trump might end up there. Then in 12th place, we've got the Toronto Raptors. Sixth God is going to be disappointed, but that's just what happens in life sometimes. Then in 11th place, the Atlanta ATL Hawks. And then in 10th place, the Chicago Bulls. Womp womp. Again, Zach LaVine, hopefully he gets traded. And in 9th place, one of the biggest improving teams probably this season, the Charlotte Hornets. Anyone object to any of those teams? I don't think so, because I think those probably, it's pretty clear who the top 8 teams are in this conference. I'm pretty sure this is pretty obvious.
One thing I will say on these teams, the Charlotte Hornets at 9th, like, you know how everyone talks about the league pass team of the year? If this team's healthy, they will be incredible to watch. They probably won't win a huge amount of games, but they'll be incredible to watch. You know, what's not to love about LaMelo Ball and a player whose favorite, who calls the GOAT Paul George, Brandon Miller? You know,
I got their nickname ready to go already, man. I got the nickname ready to go. I was thinking about this afternoon. I was like, I'm in the same thinking as you. I think this is probably going to be the most entertaining team to watch this season. So I came up with the nickname. I sat on it. I thought about it. Airbnb. There you go. I think that's the name right there. Ball, Bridges, Miller. So you got BMB. Airbnb. Charlotte Hornets fans thank me. Charlotte Hornets commentators. Their commentators are the best. They can thank me too for that. I might have to trademark that. Airbnb.
That's good. That's good.
So get on that wave real quick. And there might be a sneaky shot to make the playoffs, but let's get into our playoff team. So in 8th place, the Dunk Dynasty Podcast in the Eastern Conference. In 8th place, we had unanimously the Miami Heat. Jed, give us your thoughts why you had the Heat at 8th.
To be fair, I really wanted to put the Hornets above them, but you can't count out Coach Spo. You can't count out the defensive presence of Bam Adebayo. Jimmy Butler, he's proven like he doesn't play a huge amount of games, but he's proven that he can elevate this team. They've got a lot of good players, and they always seem to find more. Jaime Jaquez Jr., he's an up-and-comer. I think there's, as much as there's questions about this team, there's still a lot to like. And with the way that organization's run and has been run, you know, you can't really count them out. That's why they're 8th. I think people would love to have put them lower, but just that you can't count the Heat out factor. That's why they're still in 8th and not any lower.
Yeah, similar to what Jed said, the Heat are one of those sides that I don't think will be healthy very much during the season. Yeah, Butler gets injured a bit. Bam always comes up with a niggle. Tyler gets injured. Jaime Jaquez got a bit injured last year as well. You know, Rozier takes time off. So I don't think they'll be healthy throughout the season. They won't be able to get too cohesive until, you know, the last 20 games probably of the actual season when they go towards the playoffs. I think they'll they'll go pretty hard in the playoffs. I don't know if they'll make it out of the first round, but I feel like whoever they play will have to go to 7 and it'll be a tough contest. I don't think they'll be healthy enough to go any higher up in the rankings. So I think 8th was pretty solid for them.
Yeah, Heat culture is legit, but again, same thing as everyone is saying. Jimmy Butler, injury prone. Tyler Hero, injury prone. I just don't think their team is good enough as presently constructed to be, anywhere higher than 8th place. So I think 8th place is a solid position for them, unless, you know, Jaime Jaquez takes a crazy step, but we've seen Terry Rozier for a long time. We know what Tyler Hero presents. We know what Duncan Robinson brings. A guy who I'm interested to see, Kalal Ware, interested to see how he does. But as a whole, I don't think they're good enough to, be anywhere higher than 8th place. Probably out in the first round, and more than likely Jimmy Butler's last year in Miami. It's a rip. I hate to see him go out like that.
Last year in Miami, where do you think he'll go after that then?
Anywhere that's not Miami, bro. Let's think of some contenders who are out there. So let's think about Golden State. I just don't know any team that wants to add Jimmy Butler.
Do you think Butler's looking to get into a situation where he's going to get a ring straight away, or is he going to look for somewhere that he can kind of build up and have another one of those like legacy type of teams?
At age 35 or 36, when he enters free agency, he's looking for a 3-year deal. I'm pretty sure that's what he's looking for, a 3-year deal or maybe even 4-year deal. If you're trying to get paid, the options become very limited because I don't think any high-level team that's trying to win a championship thinks that Jimmy Butler at age 36 is going to be a key missing piece. Maybe the Rockets fall for the trap and try get him and say, listen, we've got Jalen Green, Freddie V, Şengün. Let's add Jimmy Butler. He could be the missing piece. Maybe he goes to like Golden State. Golden State is a team that obviously pops up as well. The Pistons, they might have room as well. We'll say, let's add Jimmy Butler to be alongside, I think, Tobias Harris on a long deal too, alongside Cade and them. So that's another team. Or go to Toronto and get paid and be on a pretty average team.
Yeah, I think the Hornets as well, like what he did with the Timberwolves and the 76ers when he first went to those teams and kind of pulled them back into the playoffs. I reckon a team like the Hornets is where he could really establish himself. He could really bring in that Jimmy Butler flair and go from there. Another team, don't count out the Knicks, that Tom Thibodeau connection. That's something that, can't be underrated. Those are two guys who they approach the game the same way. Player, coach, different positions, but very much approach the game the same way.
Okay. So now, next up at 7th place, we had the Orlando Magic. So the Orlando Magic, Jed had them at 7th. Ethan and I both had them at 4. Jed, why the Magic so low, man? A team that improved in the offseason, adding KCP. They already had the defensive potential, You don't think that they're going to jump up and take that next step?
I think if you look through like the way the rankings fall from 4 to 7th, there's not going to be many games that separate the Eastern Conference. It's going to be very close. It's not going to be the caliber of teams like the West, but it's going to be equally as close as the West. I think the thing that let me down a wee bit with the Magic is I'd like to see the offense come a long way. KCP will help that, but I was just more confident about what the other teams have done in the past than what I am about this team. Like teams like the Cavs, I think they're going to get it together. Teams like the Pacers, I love their offense. Siakam, he's like a nice calming presence there. Like they were very chaotic. They were very fast paced and loose, but he kind of brings them back down to earth. I think I was more confident about the teams ahead of them rather than pessimistic about the Magic. I reckon I love what they're doing, but next year is the year where I bump them up the rankings.
See, the Magic's this team that I look at in the East that is like the Thunder. Young core, talented players, star talent up front with Paolo and Franz. A couple of real key players underneath, Cole Anthony, Wendell Carter, Jonathan Isaac, those type of players that they can have underneath where they just, fill their role out. And they've got lots of depth following that. I just think the Magic, I think underrated coming into this season. I think they're gonna let people know quite a few things this year that they are gonna be one of the top tier. I had them at 4, but I was pretty close to putting them at 3, almost at 2. I think the Magic are going to be real good this year, and I think they're going to get 55 wins and their talent second round probably exit, I'd say.
Yeah, I think Magic up there for sure. Because defensively they had everything that they needed, and now they added one of the 3-point shooters who I recommended. I had Gary Trent, KCP, and Malik Beasley. I said, get one of those guys, possibly even 2 if you can. Now they've got 1 in KCP. Defensively, they already have the ability. KCP, great defender already. Now you add him to that team. If Franz Wagner can live up to that contract, which will be tough, considering how many M's are on that thing, but if he can just be, somewhat of good play, 25-5, that's all we need from you, Franz. That's fine. Then you add in Banchero's production already as well. Then if you add in also just the other pieces around, like the Batadzes, the Wendell Carter Juniors, now you've got a solid team that you can build. And now if they can, through a trade, go to the Pistons, who are, as much as I love Cade Cunningham, the Pistons aren't going to be very good. Go to the Pistons and say, listen, how about you guys give us Tim Hardaway Jr. or Malik Beasley, and we'll give you a pick. And now all of a sudden, you've got their great defensive team alongside another shooter, if not 2 other 3-point shooters. Orlando Magic, 4 seed, for sure, in my opinion, in the East.
But what you just said there, Pete, is you said 25 and 6 or 25-5 for Franz. Paolo's going to do something similar, probably better. Then you've got your 2 best players leading the team are going to be putting up, 50 and 12 or something like that a night. And one of them's 21 and the other one's 23.
Exactly.
Like, that team is built for something, and it is like this year. I feel like last year they had a bit of a breakout, went off. off season, even more connections this year coming into it. I feel it. They're like the Thunder in the East.
Exactly. And defensively, that's where I think that they are the best. Well, I think the number one team for me still is OKC defensively. I think they're easily number one defensive team. Number two, you've got to put the Magic in there. And we haven't even mentioned him. Jonathan Isaac, Jed's favorite player. He's going to be there too. Cole Anthony, he's going to be there too. So they have a squad, bro. We say it over and over again, if they can stay healthy, but more importantly, if Franz can take a step, if Paolo can continue his rise, his ascendance.
Trajectory.
Exactly. If he can keep going in that trajectory that we think he's going in. He was an all-star last season, sophomore year. Now, this is where we expect you, Paolo, every year to be an all-star. If he can continue there, Orlando, the sky is the limit.
Yeah, my thing was more, I just think they're a year away. That was just my thing. I think they're going to make great strides. But if you remember back last year, they were really good in waves. They weren't like a consistently chip away team. They didn't get they got better as the year went on, but it wasn't always smooth sailing. But yeah, I do like this team. I'm not going to count them out.
Yeah, there you go. Get behind. But above the Magic, we had the Pacers at the 6th seed. The Pacers who made the conference finals last year. Listen, there's a bit of an outlier here because there's a certain someone here who had them in 3rd place. Ethan, why are the Pacers so high on your list, bro?
See, I just really like the Pacers roster. Like, I don't really know like why, but I like the Pacers roster. I've got them as like my spoiler alert. I've got them as like my surprising team for the year, and so that's why I put them at 3rd. I really like the team that they have around there, the young talent, the defensive talent, the scoring prowess of some of these players, and then Miles Turner, I reckon, with Halliburton. Love that, and his defense, and then Halliburton needs a bit of work on his defense, but we'll get there. Pascal, Spicy P, love that. McConnell on the bench, I reckon he's a starting point guard, man. That guy's so good. I love that dude. You got Nemhard, and then they've got Neesmith. They've got a few others floating around. Obi Toppin, forget about that. The dunker of doom. I don't know. I just really like the Pacers set up, the system they got, the team that they have, and I just really excited to watch them play this year. They play a fun brand of basketball. It's fast. They connection, all of those types of things. And I just can't wait to see them go out this year. They're going to be one of my favorite teams to watch. And I wouldn't say I've enjoyed the Pacers in previous years. So it's just, I just felt good about them.
They do have a very fluid offense. And the one thing about them is like early season, they'll be incredible. I think once the late season grind comes, they'll slip off a wee bit. And I don't really back them too much in the playoffs. The one good thing they do have going for them, Rick Carlisle, as the head coach. He's traditionally been a defensive-minded head coach, so that's where it's really interesting that they have such a good offense. You won't expect their defense to stay bad for years and years to come, but it's definitely going to have to take leaps and bounds for them to improve to be like a top 10 defense in the NBA if you want to be a real kind of contender in that space. This is all going to come down to whether Halliburton can be the player everyone thinks he can be for a full 82 games. What he showed early last year was he could be an all-NBA perennial kind of guy. What he showed at the end of the season and parts of the playoffs was, you know what? If the injuries are niggling him, he might just disappear. Like, he's an incredible player, really efficient, really good passer, really high IQ for the game, really good shooter, but, it needs to be consistency. And I think that's where this team didn't fall where Ethan put them on the list. What do you think, P?
Yeah, I got them at 7th. Same thing. The Pacers are a revolving door on defense, bro. Everyone gets through. It's, bro, the neighborhood, what I'm saying, the neighborhood person that everyone gets to go through, for sure. And that's the Pacers defense, bro. Come on. Like, they've added no defensive lockdown guys. I just don't believe that Tyrese Halliburton all of a sudden became a great defender. They've got guys like Obi Toppin who are liabilities. Siakam, obviously good defender. Guys like Nemhart, they try on defense. But it's Aaron Naismith has probably got to be their best lockdown defender. It's hard. It's hard for me. Benedict Mathurin coming off the injury. That's going to be great. But offensively, I have no problems. Offensively, they're going to cook like they did last season. But defensively, that's always going to be the problem for this team until either they have a shift in there or they add some lockdown defensive guys. That's why I've got them at 7th, purely because I think when they win games, they're going to win those high-scoring games, put up 115, 120, 125. But those grinded-out games where you have to actually, the points aren't flowing, when you actually have to get stops on defense to win the game, I just still don't think they've got the ability to do that. So that's why I got them at 7th place.
Do you think they have the best offense in the NBA?
Nah, I still give that to the Boston Celtics.
Really?
Yeah.
I just don't love the Celtics offense. It's very much your turn, my turn. With a bunch of glue guys in there that carry up the glue guys in there lift the floor, but I feel like there's just so much more Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown can do to not force it as much as they have. But anyway, that's a story for later on this podcast.
Yeah. I also don't have those two sides as the best offense. The Phoenix Suns by far have the best offense coming into the season.
The Phoenix Honey Buttons. I don't know about that one. I don't know if
Did you see the place?
Nowadays? Oh, I love that.
I don't know if I'll put the Suns above the Celtics. I don't know. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I mean, I'd still say Celtics for me, purely because the problem with the Celtics is when they're on, they are so on because they're so reliant on the 3-ball. But as we saw in the preseason against the Raptors, when they're off, they are very, very off. So, but I still give them the number 1 offense. But let us go to the team that we all had in the 5th seed, the Philadelphia 76ers. Pretty average ranking there from all of us. I think pretty consistent 5th and 6th. But Jed, Philadelphia 76ers for you, 5th seed after adding PG. What's your thoughts on that?
I had them a little bit higher a few days ago, and then this injury scared of Paul George, and I just get the same feelings that I always get with the 76ers. I feel like there's too many variables. This is a team of variable on variable on variable on variable. For them to be good, a lot of things have to go right. They need to have less injuries. They need Joel Embiid to be healthy throughout the season. I think I love their roster. If their roster's healthy throughout the whole year, I reckon they'd be a top 2 seed in the East, and they'd really contend for a championship. But I think this team screams of a second round exit. I love the addition of Paul George and what he brings. I love Tyrese Halliburton's elevation as a player, and you just can't stop
Tyrese Maxey.
Oh, that's my bad. Actually, scrap that. Nah, but yeah, I love I just don't think they're going to stay healthy. I just don't think they're going to stay healthy. And when Embiid was out last year, that team really fell to bits. Like, the difference weren't they like a 60-win pace team with Embiid and then a non-playoff team without Embiid? So they're way too reliant on. Yeah, I'm selling my 76ers stock just because I don't think it's a safe investment.
See, I'm in the boat where I don't think I think health is going to factor in hugely. I think some of the older veteran players that they have in this team have never really been top tier. Like, Eric Gordon's probably not. Kyle Lowry obviously had his moment in the sun, but I don't really feel like Philly's got like enough pieces around Joel and PG and Maxey and that to really make a big enough statement in the East, given some of the talent of the top couple of teams. But I don't really see Philly doing anything better than 5th, and they'll probably be out first round. I don't see PG making as much of an impact on the team as I guess they're kind of wanting, because he's just going to be injured for half the season.
Yeah, and plus, I think for me, it's very obvious why the 76ers are so low. I probably would have put them. I wanted to put them lower because Joel Embiid says that he's not going to be playing back-to-backs. PG apparently is going to miss some of those back-to-backs. So now all of a sudden, Tyrese Maxey has to be your superstar for. They have 15 back-to-backs this season. So I mean, bro, you're planning on what? Trying to go 10-5 in those games to be actually a really good team? That's probably not going to happen. You're probably going to be in the negatives. So you're looking at 6-9, bro, 5-10. Let's see how that we're not playing back-to-back stuff works if you guys are under 500 late in the season. I guarantee you Embiid will play those back-to-backs. And that's part of the reason why I just can't put them any higher than that, bro. Like, your star's not playing back-to-backs. Back-to-back, let's say you play the Nuggets. You're not going to play in that game? Come on, bro. It's an important game. So that and the fact that PG, injury-prone, Joel Embiid, injury-prone, and I just don't think PG is as much of a needle mover as so many people are making him out to be. He's 32, 33 years old now. And we saw he's already injured now to start the season. Slow starts, and they've got one of the hardest schedules to start the season. So, Yeah, Philly, I'm not high on them as well. I probably might even put them at 6th or 7th if I'm being honest. But yeah,
I mean, I think one of the things Philly don't quite understand by having Embiid not playing back-to-backs and Paul George, who's injury prone, 34 years old, glad he's off the Clippers now. Is that Tyrese Maxey? If they don't play back-to-backs, those two, let's say Paul George plays 5 of them, Embiid plays none, then Tyrese Maxey has to be the number one dude for 10 of those games with a supporting cast of Eric Gordon, Kyle Lowry, Reggie Jackson. There's not a lot of support there. He's having to take the entire role. He's going to get double teamed the entire time by the team's best defenders. And is it going to develop his game? Is he going to become a better player? I mean, he's taken steps last year, absolutely, and he's shown talent. This year, we want him to take that extra step to become that all-star type of level player, the player that can actually be that, a franchise face kind of thing. And if he's having to take control of this team when it's meant to be Joel's and Paul George's team where the team's kind of built around those two, how much impact is that going to have on his career progression? Or as a player, is he going to progress into and be molded into the player that we're kind of wanting him to see? Or is he just going to be this fella that gives you 25 a night on 20 shots?
Oh, to be fair, I couldn't care less about all that. And Tyrese Maxey's progression aside, I think it's just messy. And you have to look at the situation where you got Paul George from, where expectations were high because those players were really good, but they could never deliver on those expectations because they could never share the court together. And you're pairing a player who's come from that situation with another guy who's really injury prone. On paper, if I'm playing 2K, I love this roster. This will be so fun to play with. But in terms of an 82-game season and the playoffs and the finals, nah, I'm out. This is Shark Tank, and I'm out. I'm gone.
So moving on to our next team, the 4th seed that we've had, the Dunk Dynasty podcast has, we've got the Cleveland Cavaliers. So Donovan Mitchell's coming back, obviously signed him to a good deal. Garland's on a deal already. Then they signed Jarrett Allen to a deal, and Mobley's there. So the big four taking up a lot of money, and this is a team that the clock's slowly tick-tock. It's running out. Time's running out. What's your thoughts on the Cavs being at 4 seed? We'll start with you, Jed, because you had them the highest. You actually had them at 4.
Okay, well, I'm going to say here straight off the bat, you know what? This is the only team in the NBA that benefits from injuries. This roster has always struggled with the lineups, getting the right players to match with the right ones, like Garland matching with Mitchell. What works better, Mobley or Allen on the court? But that aside, benefiting from injuries, this team's benefiting also from continuity. This team's been together a while. They've got a new coach. I've always been high on Kenny Atkinson. He's been in that Warriors system, and look what they've been able to do over the last couple of years. Amazing stuff. I just hope they bring some of that grit from those Nets years with D'Angelo Russell, that kind of play style, to this team. I think continuity and Mobley having a breakout season is what is going to get this team into the spot. I don't think they're going to go good in the playoffs. I don't think this roster ever will. But as far as a regular season team goes, I think with a defensive anchor like Mobley and the offensive stars they have, I think they're going to rack up the regular season wins quite steadily. So, I hate the team, but as from a standpoint of winning, I reckon they're going to get it done.
No,
Regular season version.
I can't. Where did I have them? I had them at 6, and I think that's generous. I don't see Donovan Mitchell and Garland being together at the end of the season. One of them's going to get traded. I don't know who. I don't see Mobley and Allen playing together at the end of the season. One of them's going to get traded. I don't know who. This team is not built for these 4 players to play in the same team at the same time. You said injuries was going to benefit this team. Or trades. They don't have. Cleveland are in a situation of we don't want to get rid of these players because they're talent. There's so much talent and they're good friends or whatever it is. Just blow it up. It hasn't worked the last 2 years. Blow the damn thing up and just ship out 2 of them. Ship out Garland, ship out Mobley, ship out Allen. I don't care. You get so much value for those players. Ship them out, get some picks, get some younger players in, start again. I've had enough of watching this team play well and then suck, play well and then suck, get to the playoffs and then just fall apart. I want to see some consistency with this team, and I don't think it's going to happen with the same roster that they had last year.
The Cleveland Cavaliers and their like head office are literally like every NFL fantasy manager or every player who has a fantasy team. Everyone loves the talent they have in their roster, and no one wants to trade anyone. They have a bunch of guys that they can get a lot for, and they're just going to sit on them, ride it out, and lose in the playoffs. I'm one of those guys.
Ask Mr. 1 and 5 over there.
Yeah. Look, I'm one of those guys at the moment as well. I'll be honest. And looking at this team, if I had this team, it is like if I was the like a GM of this squad, I looked at it, I would be so happy. But this team's so good, I can't wait to watch them play. I watched the first game, and if they get blown out, I'm blowing it up. Had enough.
But remember, that's what we said yesterday about the Clippers. When you invest so much into a team or into a person or into a thing, it's so much more harder for you to give it up and let it go because you're like, I've put so much into it. It has to work. It has to work. It has to work. That you go to all lengths to try and convince yourself, and you're just delusional to say, oh, this will work. Let me just give it another year. And they've done that for the last 3 years. Let's give it another year. Let's give it another year. At some point,
but I feel like there's enough options around the league. There's enough options around the league currently for them to blow this team up and not go backwards, to still hold their value or go forwards.
Okay, reel it in, guys. Reel it in. You know, not every team has to win a championship. At the end of the day, these are businesses, and I think there's.
Oh, what are you playing for then, Jed?
Your team's based in Cleveland, like, just like you've had the LeBron era. You've won a championship. There's nothing wrong with being a really good team for a few years, waiting for an opportunity to come along. Just thinking about this now, the way we're talking about this, is like, if they're not going to win a championship this year, blow it up. Why would you blow it up? This team could just stay like this for a few years, wait for a good opportunity.
They can't stay like that. They've been like that for the last 3 years. They can't stay like that. You can't say, we're going to do this. We've done it 3 years. Let's do it a fourth year, a fifth year.
Let me ask you a question, Jed. Jed, let me ask you a question, okay? The Oklahoma City Thunder, your favorite team, the team that you were drooling over yesterday, where you literally couldn't sleep because you love them so much. If they spend the next 3 years with this current squad and do nothing, let's say they make the conference finals once, don't make the finals, they do nothing. And are you going to be at the end of 3 years? Oh, but it's such a good team, and I love watching them. So I think another couple of years, let's see what happens, and see if something comes along, and maybe we'll do it that way. And then, okay, sweet as. Hell no! You're going to say, blow that shit up, give me this, and put this team together, and let's go for that chip. You've had enough at that point, haven't you?
Okay, a little bit of a sidebar there. After that time period, their second and third best player is still going to be under the age of 25. So it's a little bit different.
Yeah,
it's
but
like
that's the thing. Time is of the essence.
Even Mobley.
Time is of the essence. You're never going to be this young again. What's the point in saying, oh, let's wait another year? Now all of a sudden Garland's 25, then he's 26, then he's 27.
I'm not saying wait another year. I'm just saying don't rush into anything. Like, what? I just look at the teams in the East. Look at the teams in the East from 10th place down in our rankings. The Hornets, the Hawks, the Bulls, the Raptors, the Wizards, the Pistons, the Nets. Think about how miserable these teams have been for the last half decade. They just haven't been able to figure it out. Minus the Raptors because they won that championship. But the Wizards, the Pistons, the Bulls, the Hawks, they've done absolutely nothing.
Yes,
nothing.
But they all had teams. They had teams, though. They had teams that could have done well.
And then they made changes to those teams. They didn't just ride it out and do nothing and then lose these players.
Okay, but none of those teams have a core right now where I'm like, they're going to be the team of the future.
But at least they went for it. At least they went for it, though. The Nets, they went for it. They got KD, Harden, and Kyrie. Okay. They went for it. They went for it.
Yeah, the Nets, that one, I'll give them a pass. The Pistons,
the same thing. The Raptors went for it. The Raptors went for it. The Hawks went for it by trying to get DeJounte Murray. And after 2 years, they said DeJounte Murray and Trae Young experiment hasn't worked. They said, bye-bye, DeJounte. That's what this is year 3 now. And we can all clearly see Garland and Mitchell do not work on the court together. Because why? Mitchell takes away from Garland's talents. And Garland, he's just not able to shine the way that he did before Mitchell got there. Same thing with Mobley and Jarrett Allen. There's 2 guys there who are not elite shooters in the NBA. Why do you think Gobert and Cat worked? Because Cat could shoot the ball, he could space the floor. You didn't have 2 guys clogging the lane. Otherwise, Anthony Edwards wouldn't have been as good as he was last season with 2 bigs clogging the lane. This team just won't work. Go for it by moving one person, one of those, either one of the guards, most likely Garland, or move one of the bigs, most likely Jarrett Allen, because I don't think you can move Mobley. and go for it and actually build around 2 of the guys, not 4 guys. We've seen that it doesn't work.
I agree with P.
Give him opportunity, more power, and mainly because I want to see DG do well, bro. Clutch sports client. But yeah, Cavs at 4. So now we had the Milwaukee Bucks, first full season coming up this season under Glenn Rivers, and then they've also got Darvin Ham and Turkey Cheese Sandwich as the assistant coach. 3rd seed for Milwaukee Bucks. Ethan, you had them at 7th. Well, you want to give us an explanation why you're at 7th place, man?
Mate, let me tell you why I've got the Bucks in 7th, all right?
Go on.
I'm sick and tired of people saying that the Milwaukee Bucks are going to be so good when they've got an offensive powerhouse in Dame Lillard. They've got Giannis Antetokounmpo, who plays 55 games a year, gets injured, but is sensational, one of the best in the league. But then they've got a whole bunch of bums in their squad. I'm telling you right now, I've had enough of Chris Middleton. Never again. Paying that guy $32 million to play worse than I would in the game.
Pause.
Brook Lopez. I haven't finished. Brook Lopez, he's a bum. No longer any good. I've had enough of him. Bobby Portis is the only bright spot on that bench that I'm happy with. Gary Trent, still, not bad, not here for it. There's not a lot of depth. They don't have a lot of, what are you really looking at that team and you're going, okay, they've got Giannis, they've got Dame. What else do they actually have? Bobby on the bench, a bit of Gary Trent. What? Pat Connaughton? Come on. There's nothing in that squad that you're going, okay, sweet, I'm going to have those. They're going to be tough to beat come playoffs, come end of the year. They're not. They're not going to make it. They're going to be out in the first round. Had enough of them. They're worse than Philly this year, guaranteed.
Yeah, but in the regular season, that's what I think.
But they're going to be out in the first. That's why I got them in 7th. I just don't think they're going to win games. They're going to get to the playoffs and then they'll be tough. But then Giannis hasn't been healthy the last 2 years. Think he's going to be healthy this year? Probably not. Dame's going to do it by himself? No, he's not. Chris Middleton ain't going to show up. Brook Lopez is going to retire next year because we've had enough of him. The league's had enough of him. He's had enough of him. So he's done. I don't see it with the Bucks this year. It's not happening. 7th place, and I was being generous.
I feel like
7th place, and you're being.
Yeah, go on, Jed. Go on.
I was just going to say, put this guy in a straitjacket. I feel like
Straitjacket?
every year. Was that?
Straitjacket.
Pop off. Come from me. Now, all I was just saying is just the Bucks. They're a team that is always built to do well in the regular season. All they need is health for the playoffs. I don't like their coaching situation there with the dynamic
Glenn.
duo.
You don't like Glenn?
Glenn and Ham Sandwich. It's not great. I don't love it. But I think having Dame an extra year, having training camp and all those kind of things, for a guy who is based in one area for his whole career and then uprooted, little personal things going on, all that kind of stuff, getting through that and getting comfortable, I think that'll be huge for this team. I think they're going to start fast like they did last year, and I think they'll just be able to sustain it a lot better. I think they're comfortably a 55-win team, and Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to cook. He's simply going to cook.
That's facts. With how hard Giannis broke, no Giannis team is finishing below 4th. I'm sorry. No chance. That's not happening. Giannis is far too good of a player. Giannis can probably win you about 20 to 30 games by himself. So now he just needs the team to be there for the other 20, 25 games. And all of a sudden it's 50, 55 win team. And plus we know Doc Rivers, bro. Doc Rivers, as much as we want to roast him, he gets teams wins in the regular season. Doc Rivers teams do well in the regular season. In the playoffs, different story. But in the regular season, he's a winner. We know that. And with those 2 players, those 2 core pieces, being Giannis and Dame, then with the other guys, where I agree with you is that in the playoffs, it's going in my opinion, I think the playoffs are where it's all going to go wrong. Because I think, given the age of this team, it's a young man's league. This team is one of the oldest teams in the league. I think they are going to go too much and overexert themselves in the regular season. And in the playoffs, I think is where they're actually going to be exposed. I won't say first round, but I say second round, they'll be out. Yeah.
I'm just going to call you out on something you just said just then. You said Doc Rivers doesn't get wins in the playoffs. I think that's a little bit too far. He's going to get you at least 3 wins in a series. And then from what happens there on out is, it's a mystery and there's no pattern at all. So just, ease up your hate on old Dr. Ashtray. Ashtray voice.
Shout out my boy Glenn. Hey, that's what's up. But yeah, Milwaukee Bucks, our third seed. Then to our second seed. Second seed. This was pretty interesting because first and second, two people both had number one and number two matched up. Ethan and Jed, you guys both had the Celtics number one and the Knicks number two. I was vice versa. I had the Celtics number two, the Knicks number one. You guys want to explain why you guys had the Celtics first and the Knicks second?
This felt to me like it didn't actually matter which way around you put them. They're going to be that close, probably have the same record end of season. So I don't really feel like it mattered as much. But I had the Knicks second and the Celtics first, just pretty much based on last year's results, the team coming into this year, the pace, the Celtics, and kind of what happened over the offseason. Tatum's probably had a lot of negative chat spoken about him over the last couple of months since the finals, where is it really his team? Is he going to lead the team? Is he going to be one of the greats, kind of thing? All that type of chat. Jaylen Brown not being in the USA team, with finals MVP, some of the other people in there, does Porzingis really mean that much to the team? He was injured for quite a lot of the playoffs. There's lots of, negative, controversial things being said about the Celtics. So I think they're just going to come out and they're going to have a sensationally good season. I think they'll go back to back as well. And I just feel like the Celtics are just going to be the best. But I feel like the Knicks, with the addition of Cat, and Bridges and the team that they have, they're going to be so tough to beat. Defensively, they're going to be strong. Offensively, they're going to be stronger. They're going to be so tough to beat. I think they'll have pretty much the same record as the Celtics, maybe one or two games in between both. But yeah, they're both going to be, I reckon, 60-win teams. And it's, those two by far the best sides in the East.
Damn,
the one thing that surprised me the most about this Celtics team is that people are convincing me Joe Mazzulla might be a good coach with some of the stuff he's been saying, over the offseason. Like the way he's got this team feeling like they've got a chip on their shoulder coming into this year. It almost feels like the playoff or the championship hangover might not exist with this team because they're so pissed off, even though they won. And that's why I put them at the 1 seed. Without that, I would have had them at the 2. I would have been a little bit cruisy after winning the chip. They'll be right for the playoffs, that kind of mentality. But I think this team's coming in like they've got something to prove from day one, which is very rare for a championship team. As we know, they've got the best 8 in the NBA. The Thunder are getting close with their team and with the developments they have in there. But was that
they don't have 8. They don't have 8 studs in their team. They've got 5, maybe.
You'd be surprised, Matt. You'd be surprised. But yeah, I also love New York, but I just love. I think the Celtics are going to be there. Saying I love the Celtics is a little bit far, but New York stacking up on wings is. I feel like it's the way to win. The Knicks stacking up on wings is just the way to win. OG, Mikal Bridges, Jalen Brunson's going to be doing his thing again. I think he's someone who's going to be top 5 in the MVP race again this year. And if the Knicks are number 1, there could be a chance that he takes home that trophy. But for me, Celtics number 1.
Yeah, I think the Knicks just copied the blueprint that the Celtics put out. The Celtics put out the blueprint. Have 4 great wing players and a big man who can shoot elite. He can shoot the 3-ball elite level. What did the Knicks do? 4 elite guys on the wing and a big man who can shoot the 3-ball. Carbon copy. But the reason why I had the Knicks number 1 seed and the Celtics number 2, purely because I think the Celtics, look at the players. They had Tatum, Holiday, and White all played deep into the playoffs, all the way through to the finals. Then they played the Olympic basketball. I think there were a point in time in the regular season where one of those 3, I think for sure, will get hurt and need some rest. And I think that's when they'll probably lose some track on the Knicks. And plus, the over-under set at 58.5, man. And not many defending champions have gone over that mark. Whereas I think I have the New York Knicks winning exactly 60 games. And I think I have the Celtics winning about 56. And I just think at some point in time, they'll go, let's prioritize the rest. Let's get ourselves to the playoffs. I don't think they need home court advantage anymore. I think they beat the Knicks regardless of whether or not they have home court advantage come playoff time. So I think the Knicks have got a point to prove, given they put so much into getting this team together, given how much they gave up to get Bridges, how much they gave up to get OG, then Cat as well. And plus, we know who their coach is. That coach is going to play them till the wheels fall off. and they're going to go all out for the number 1 seed, which I think will be at a detriment come playoff time. So, yeah, Celtics number 2, Knicks number 1 in the regular season only. But that sets the stage for who do you think will be going to the finals from the Eastern Conference? My one's obvious. I said just before, they don't need home court advantage. Celtics going back to the championship, going back NBA finals, and they go back to back.
Yeah, I said the same thing a little bit earlier, that I think Celtics will double up back-to-back titles for the Celtics. But just a real quick one from me as well. Jaylen Brown back-to-back finals MVP as well. Thank you.
Yeah, on this one, I've got Celtics going to the finals, but I think a team in the West will snatch the chip. I think that there is things that can go wrong for the Celtics team with the Kristaps Porzingis variable, and at some point, someone else might have. I don't know. This is purely just speculating on injuries and stuff, which is not really the way we're supposed to do this. But Celtics to the finals, Celtics to lose.
All right, so let's go to the next one. Next topic, most surprising team, whether it's good or bad. Ethan, we'll start with you. Who's your most surprising team in the East this season?
So I know we said we don't want to talk about them, but I've got the Wizards down as my most surprising team. And the only reason I've done this is because I wanted to annoy P. But also at the same time, I actually quite like the Wizards roster a little bit. I feel like they've got with Base, Kolibali, Brogdon, Paul, and Kuzma. I feel like they've got a young, not young, but they've got a talented squad there where you're not gonna do any damage, but they're gonna improve and they're gonna get better. It's gonna make the East stronger. There's gonna be some trades. I'm assuming that Kuzma's probably gonna get traded this year to a contender, and they're gonna get some picks back and then go even deeper for the year after. But I feel like the Wizards are gonna improve. I think I had them at 13th finishing, which is still not great, but it's better than last year at least.
What have you just said?
They're gonna improve as a team, and I feel like they're gonna make a dent in the East a little and surprise a few people and a few teams.
For the listeners out there, I apologize for everything you just had to listen to. That is absolutely crazy. You're calling the Wizards to have a shocker of a season, to be a surprising.
Yeah, well,
team.
no. So what I'm saying is the Wizards are still gonna suck, but they're not going to suck nearly as bad as you think they're going to suck.
Wait, what did the Wizards finish last year? Were they 13th or 14th? Because if your crazy team is improving by 1 spot or not improving at all,
yeah, mate, they're only going to improve by 1 or 2 spots, man. I'm telling you.
Okay, well that's crazy. I'm going to go next. I've got the Nets improving by nothing. No, I'm kidding. What I have is I've got the Hornets. I think they're really going to fight. Well, they're going to be a real nasty team for one of those play-in spots. The roster is so exciting. LaMelo Ball, if he can put a whole season together, what he's able to do on offense with the likes of Brandon Miller, who's proved he can be a good scorer. He's got a big body. You got other Bridges. I was going to say Mikal Bridges, but you got the other Bridges, the one that
he's got a big body,
Miles.
Miles Bridges that might not be able to play out of the state because of some domestic issues.
Some transgressions.
You got to use the name, bro. Airbnb. You got to use the name, bro.
Yeah. Air freaking B&B.
Yeah.
There we go. They're taking off. They're going to put the Hornets back on the map. They're going to bring them back into relevance, and I'm going to save it and enjoy every moment of it. And I'm going to say it, LaMelo Ball is going to be one of the best fantasy basketball players this year.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, he's got the ankle braces on this year, bro. He's got the ankle braces on. He's been playing the whole season, leading Airbnb. And we said at the start, the most entertaining team to watch this season will be Airbnb, the Charlotte Hornets. I fully back it. I fully guarantee it. I fully believe it. And if LaMelo Ball, just keep those ankle braces on, bro. That's all we need. A little bit of health, and he'll live up to the hype. For me, I actually had the Wizards down, and then I took them off. Then I had the Hornets down, then I took them off. And then I settled on a team, and I said the Miami Heat, because I said the Miami Heat are going to surprise everyone at how bad they are. Because I think for so many years, this team has ridden the high of we lost in the finals twice, in 2020 and 2023. And I feel like the high of losing the finals twice has given them Miami Heat and the Miami Heat fans a false sense of belief that they're better than they actually are, because they keep saying, well, if Jimmy Butler's healthy, we'll go win a championship. Yeah, I know you guys lost in a game 7 against the Celtics in 2022, and then you won against them in 2023. Jason Tatum got hurt, we know that. And then last season, Jimmy Butler's hurt. Like, I just feel there's every single season there's something that they keep on holding on to say, we can win a championship with this team. Nah, I think you missed your window to trade Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero. Bam is a great player, we know that. But Jimmy Butler, 35 years old, this is not the same Jimmy Butler that's going to be able to carry you back to the finals. It's not happening. And even more that's going to affect them is that the East is so much better. The Celtics are so much better. The Knicks are so much better. I can probably even say Philly's so much better. The Bucks are so much better. So this Heat culture stuff, bro, I'm not buying into it this season, because at some point in time, you can have all the culture you want. Talent will beat you. And yeah, there's too much talent on these other teams, bro. And as I said before, probably Jimmy Butler's last year in Miami.
Yeah. Love it.
It's going to be a long season, man. I mean, listen, I love Miami, but maybe LeBron goes back there. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, Miami's got to have someone good, bro. That's a big market, bro. We've got to get Miami a start. Maybe Donovan Mitchell goes there, becomes the new face of Miami basketball. Someone. They're going to need it, yeah. So, sad reacts for Miami, man. But let's move on to the next one. Breakout player. Whether or not this is a breakout player, just a breakout player, or a breakout player to become an all-star, who you got? Ethan, we'll start with you.
Oh, thank you very much. So I've got my breakout player over here. My breakout player is actually one of the lovely men from Chicago. His name is Joshua Giddey. I've got Joshua Giddey being the breakout player for the East this year. It's not just all-star breakout; it's just breakout player, right?
Just breakout,
Yeah.
breakout.
Yeah. I just got him. I don't know if he'll be an all-star, but I got him as a breakout player. He's probably going to average something like 18, 9, and 7 or something like that. He's going to be solid. He's going to make an impact to the Bulls. I think the Bulls will improve this year with him and Lonzo, Levine, Vucevic, even, the man who wants 80 million a year, Patrick Williams. They will improve as a team, and I think he will be the forefront of that. He will lead the team, and he will make an impact. I think we saw a couple of times when Shea wasn't in the Thunder and he was taking control that he could take that step and he could be the dominant player and actually lead a team. And I feel like him having to do that now on the Bulls and actually leading a team, he will take that step and he will be the breakout player for the year, I reckon.
I reckon it's so weird how people thought that trade was lopsided when he got traded to the Bulls. Like, in the way that taking on Giddey was almost a burden. I think he's thrown throughout his career. There's question marks about him. But he is extremely talented offensively. Extremely talented. One of the best IQs and visions out of any player that there is in the NBA. And I think if the Bulls can use him right, if the Bulls can get rid of Zach LaVine, there is something that they can do there with that player. So I back the Josh Giddey train 100%. I was going to say something marginal about old Josh Giddey, but won't go there. P, what do you think?
There's only one ball. They've got Kobe White there as well. They've got Lonzo Ball as well. There's only one ball. I'm like, I don't know how much he's going to be able to shine. That's my only reason I doubt Josh Giddey, because there's only one ball, and there's only one ball in the team, that's a double entendre a little bit there. But, listen, I don't know. I don't think he's been able to shine the way that we think he's going to,
But you remember there's only one ball on the Thunder last year as well. And he still put up pretty good numbers in a lot of games. A lot of games he did kind of get phased out a little bit, but they're not going to be relying on him to be an elite shooter like the Thunder were trying to rely on him to be. They were that's definitely going to be the next evolution of his game. But a lot of what he can do is like just little quick moments with the ball, moving it to the next player. That the whole sideline, the slob wizard thing is so true. Like the amount of plays that the Thunder could run last year just by having Giddey there, him reading it, them running their actions and hitting the right man at the right time for easy baskets. There's so much that adds to a team like the Bulls, who have for a long time been, that weird team where the ball stops with a few players. So I think that's huge. And Lonzo Ball also, he's not a guy who needs the ball in his hand a lot, and it's going to be slow getting him integrated back there. They definitely need to get rid of Zach LaVine though.
See, I see the Bulls having Giddey as that, like in rugby teams, like a second receiver. Lonzo Ball is going to be the first receiver. He's going to feed out to to Giddy, and then Giddy's going to play off the back of it, and they're going to figure out if it's going to be, Kobe White. See, I feel like Zach LaVine's going to be activated this year. We've seen it with Lonzo Ball before. We're going to see it again now with Giddy. I think it's going to work, and I feel like the Bulls are going to actually be a lot better this year than we're giving them credit for. Vucevic is still a talent. He's still a good player, still a good center. They've got enough depth on the bench as well. Defensively, it will be a bit of a problem, bit of a slug. But they're going to have enough ball movement and ball talent, on offensive talent on this team that I think they'll be, and Giddy will be the breakout player.
Breakout player in the WNBA was CC, Caitlin Clark. In the NBA, the breakout player will be CC, Cade Cunningham. All-star, Cade Cunningham. I'm telling you right now, I've been on the train. When he got injured, everyone hopped off the wagon. I stayed on the wagon, and I backed him last season. I will stay with Cade Cunningham till the wheels fall off. This season, Cade Cunningham will be an NBA All-Star. And I know people want to say, oh, well, the seeding won't be high enough. Well, Scotty Barnes was an All-Star last season. If the stats are good enough and the play's good enough, you will get credit. You will get what you deserve if you earn it. And Cade Cunningham, I think, this season, with that team, they've gone out there, got shooters. Malik Beasley's there, Hardaway's there, Tobias Harris is there. All these other players on the squad have taken jumps and steps. Cade Cunningham, give me 24.5, give me 8, and give me 5, and take him to the All-Star game. That's where he's going. Cade Cunningham, the first All-Star for the Pistons in God knows how long. But he's the face of Detroit basketball, and he will be representing them come All-Star game. That is the breakout player.
You know how you said you were all aboard the Cade Cunningham wagon, the bandwagon, the train, or whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
All I say is don't save me a fucking seat. that's all you, buddy. That is all you.
Listen,
enjoy the space on the carriage. That's all I'm saying.
All I said to everyone, bro, listen, you guys stay hated. You guys stay hated from the outside the club, because Josh Giddey ain't gonna be in that club. None of your Cade Cunningham will be an All-Star, and by the start of next season, we will be having discussions about Cade Cunningham being a top 10, if not a top 5 guard in the league. That's how high I am on Cade Cunningham. I feel like people just sleep on him because he's been injured. And now if he can string together a healthy season, which is what we say for almost everyone, Cade Cunningham will get to show everyone who he really is. And plus with JB Bickerstaff there, we saw what he did with Garland and Mitchell. They elevated to new heights, in my opinion, at least. So why can't Cade Cunningham? And I think Cade Cunningham's probably got more potential as well.
Yeah, great, amazing. I look forward to seeing it. All I'll say is that I'd comfortably say he's a top 5 guard in his division.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, here we go with the Cade Cunningham slander. Here we go.
Yeah, I'll move on. My breakout player, Jalen Johnson. I think he is going to be a key candidate for the most improved player this year. I think what he was able to do last year, the steps he was able to take last year, were massive. Overlooked by a lot of people. I know a lot of people on that team, they love to talk a lot about Kobe Buffkin and what he can bring to the Atlanta Hawks squad. But Jalen Johnson is the guy who can really push this team solidly into playing contention. This team's not exciting, but I do actually really love Jalen Johnson's game and what he's able to do. I think his pairing with you guys are laughing. Stop laughing. His pairing with the likes of Trae Young, without DeAndre Murray there now, is going to be huge for this team. And I actually even think Risha Shea is going to be a good player. I'm going to jump on the Risha Shea for Zach Risha Shea. That's how you say it, isn't it?
I should know. I got roasted in the comments for how I said it when we did a quiz.
Isn't it Rasasha or something?
I think it's Risha Shea. Risha Shea. I'm saying it wrong now, but I got it right the first time. Yeah. He's my pick for Rookie of the Year.
Real quick, one bold prediction for the Eastern Conference this season. Jed, we'll start with you, bro. What's your one pick? Jalen Johnson, that's the boy you're glazing for MIP, but any other ones?
Okay, so this one here, it's already been dipped into, and I put Josh Giddey will show flashes of being a future All-Star.
Okay.
So really less exciting after what Ethan kind of alluded to for his breakout player. But actually, I'm going to double down. I'm going to go Josh Giddey to be an all-star this year.
Okay, I like it. That's bold. That's definitely bold. Ethan, how bold are you going, bro?
Well,
Not bald, bold.
My actual bold, not bald statement or prediction is that Paolo Banchero will be top 5 MVP race this year.
Okay.
That's my bold prediction. But then I've also got one that's not bold but is definitely going to happen is PG and Joel to equal less than 82 games this year combined.
Oh, there we go. Now that's bold. Very realistic possibility as well. I don't mind it. My bold prediction, this will be Giannis Antetokounmpo's last year in Milwaukee. It is over. I think, I believe the Bucks will underachieve in the playoffs. And yeah, looking at that aging team, Brook Lopez will be, 36 starting next season. Dame will be 35 or 36 starting next season. It's a young man's league. And the team that I believe he will go to is the team that I have losing in the NBA Finals. They'll finally make the big move. The Oklahoma City Thunder. Giannis will be an Oklahoma City Thunder player at the start of the 2025-26 season. You heard it here first.
That is fucked. That is insane. That is a bold call, and that is.
I
crazy.
hate that bold call because I want to talk about it now.
If that goes word for word the way I said it's gonna go, I am gonna look like a genius. This has got one of the greatest all-time clips of all time written all over it. If this pans out the way that I think it does, if the Celtics beat OKC in the finals and then they trade for Giannis, bro, come on now.
That team, that starting lineup of Shea, J-Dub, Lou Dort, Chet Holmgren, and then Giannis Antetokounmpo, that is unstoppable.
Shut it down. Shut it down. Bro, shut it down. Actually, shut it down.
Okay. I just want to be honest with you real quick. They're not going to be able to trade for Giannis without giving up somebody good. They're not going to be able to give up Case and Wallace for fucking Giannis.
Bro.
Picks.
Exactly. Picks.
What? Okay, so you're telling me they're going to trade 10 first-round picks for Giannis?
Bro, are you saying no? 10
No, to be fair.
Picks.
I would say yes to that in a heartbeat because holy hell, I would love it so much. But they're not going to be able to give up 5 or 6 first. It's going to be quite a few.
Bro, for Giannis Antetokounmpo, come on now.
Top
75
how many
NBA
did they
player.
trade for Rudy?
You've got to remember this.
Traded for Rudy?
7, I think. Oh no, 7 picks. All of them, I'm pretty sure. But I don't know how many first rounders, wasn't it? We'll have a look.
5 first rounders and then 2 swaps.
Could have been. But that's Rudy Gobert. Now we're talking about Giannis.
That's Rudy. So what's Giannis getting? 64 first round picks?
You've got to remember, they got 7 first rounders and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for Paul George. So you trade Paul George and 3 first round picks for, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Giannis Antetokounmpo. When you look back on it, that's a fucking deal.
Sign me up. Run it. Told you, bro. That's a bold prediction and a half. But guys, that is the preview and predictions for the Eastern Conference. That's both of the conferences now covered, and the next episode is where we'll give you our awards prediction. Again, thank you everyone for listening. Make sure you head over to social media, follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. X now, they call it Threads, to keep updated with what we're doing and when the new episodes are dropping, and to see the shorter clips that we've got, as well as making sure to leave us a rating and review wherever you are listening. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and make sure you share the podcast with your family, your friends, your colleagues, everyone that you know, to help us keep growing. The more we grow, the more content we produce for you. With that being said, that's episode 55 of the Dunk Dynasty Podcast. Double nickel in the books. Catch you on the next one, episode 56. Over and out.